What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 37 of the Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast. I know. I haven't been here for about 3 weeks now. Kind of been taking some time off in the summer. Get a little rest from the podcast and doing stuff. Spend a little time with the family, little mini vacay, that kind of thing. But I've been doing this a year now. This is basically a year under my belt. And so it's going to be like season 2, like on the podcast stuff, as far as like on Apple and that sort of thing. But what a way to start off season 2 of podcasting than the way that I started off season 1 with Jordan Lane from Wisconsin. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. Do you know that you're the guest that's had the most appearances on the show?
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is your third time on.
Oh, hey, let's make it more.
Yeah,
I'm fine
absolutely.
with it. I love doing this stuff.
We kind of talked last year when I started kind of first doing this that you were going to have like a weekly spot or something like that. We need to figure something like that out, and maybe like what about like a co-host type thing? What about like maybe once every other week or something like that? You come on and co-host with me.
Heck yeah, I'm down. I love
That'd be kind of cool.
Like I said, so I'm interested. So we'll figure it out behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely. But for anybody that hasn't heard you, episode 1, and I think it's episode 3 or 4. I can't remember exactly which. But for people that don't know you, introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. My name's Jordan Lane. I currently live in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, home of this side, Leinenkugel's.
Nice.
Leinenkugel's beer. So if you ever had it, that's where I live in my hometown. So I've been deer hunting since I was a little kid. Bow hunting just kind of picked up relatively within the last 5-6 years, but I'm completely hooked on it now. So now I'm just freshly turned 36. Got also freshly 1-year-old twin boys, so life is busy but fun growing up with them.
Oh, absolutely. I like the video you put out, like the first time the boys got out on the boat. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. That was one of those things where you're not sure how they're going to react, and they killed it. So that was happy for me. So
my boy, he's 5 now, and he is a water rat, man. We've been on like houseboats and stuff for weekends, or we even did a whole week last summer. But you can't hardly get the kid out of the water. So I'm sure when your boys get a little older, I'm sure they'll be all about it.
Well, they love bath time. I just got done giving them a bath, and they love it. They splash water everywhere, and they just can't wait to get in. So I'm thinking they're going to be the same.
And for people that are listening to this and not watching it on the YouTube, you're missing out because there is something sitting behind Jordan right now that's an absolute freak of nature sitting behind him. That you said that was your 2020 deer?
Yep, shot him with the rifle 2020 gun season here in Wisconsin. So.
Yeah, he's a freaking stud.
Yep.
So what county? What county is that?
Pepin County. So that's about southwest Wisconsin. So
gotcha. That's awesome.
Yep.
What about your deer season last year? What about your 21 deer season? How'd it go for you?
It was actually kind of frustrating. I was really after one specific buck. I got one encounter with him with the bow, and it was a day. It was probably 55 degrees, which is pretty warm for early November, Wisconsin. And it was the one day that there was literally no wind. There wasn't even like a slight breeze every once in a while. And it was 2:00 in the afternoon, and I'm sitting over my water hole, little mini micro kill plot I have too. And I just happened to take a peek behind me, and I see a deer running, and I see some giant antlers, and I knew right away that it was a shooter. So I grabbed my bow, but I didn't stand up because he's coming straight from behind me. So I figured he might see me. I was going to wait till he got past me. And he literally stopped right underneath my tree stand, about 5 yards to my left. And if he just needed to take about, 5 more steps to get up route, and I could pull a draw, and I would have had a 10-yard shot. And he didn't like something. He must have smelled me or something, even though I'm super, super tight on that. But he didn't like something, and he took off, and I didn't see him again for 2 weeks on cam. I never saw him again in person. archery season. So lots of deer, like usual, that I see, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. And then rifle season, I did shoot a pretty good buck again with the rifle, which again not as satisfying as a bow shot for sure. But I don't know, maybe I can show you here. That's him.
Yeah, he's wide.
Yep, he 22 and a half, I believe. I gotta remember, but he's due to be mounted as well. She just let me bring the antlers back for now, and when she's ready for me, I'll bring them back. So did I got lucky again last year, but I still really want one after the bow. It's just way more satisfying, and all the work you put into it for the archery side, you just want to be successful, but you know it won't happen every year. I mean, it's just how it's the nature of it. So
Right. I mean, this may not be as satisfying for you, but it's still nice to be able to pull it off, even if it's with a gun.
oh yeah, I mean, not to take anything away from it, but it's the archery part is just so much. You just got to get them so much closer. This that buck here behind me, he was less than 100 yards, and the one I from last year I shot was at 80 yards as well. So I mean, they weren't like I was shooting 400 yards across the field or nothing. So they were still
Right.
pretty close. But again, it's not bow range. So if I would have had it in archery season, still wouldn't have got them. But
Was that a deer that you had seen on camera or knew anything about?
yeah, I had seen him really not at all during the summer. About right around rut time, he started showing up on a couple of cams. Don't know where he came from. Got kind of excited about him. That's pretty wide.
Yeah.
Not super tall tines, but I mean, not anything I'd seen before, and never saw him during, my rutcation 2 weeks in the stand. He was on cam sometimes at night, and then he just kind of disappeared for a couple weeks. I assumed he went back to wherever he came from, and then that Sunday morning, so second day of gun season in Wisconsin, I knew that there was going to be a big front coming through. There was going to be a huge wind change. So I'm like, well, I'm going to sit a couple hours in the morning until it gets really nasty, and I'm not going to sit. And all of a sudden, here he popped out of this big, thick stuff, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I thought he was gone. Like I hadn't seen him on camera or nothing, so I just figured he took back off wherever he came from. And my first shot, I got nervous. I hit him, but I didn't feel it didn't just how he was running. I didn't think I hit him very good. He stopped, and I couldn't see him through the brush, and then I heard a crash. So I was hoping that means that he was down, but it was so thick behind him I could have been running off, and I would have never even seen him. So I went up, and luckily that's where he laid. He went about 50 yards, so it was a good shot. But I was really nervous for that until I went up and found him because I thought my shot was good, but how seeing him run, man, I was like, I don't think I hit him as good as I thought I did. So lucked out.
Yeah, that's an awesome story, man. That's the picture that I'm going to use for the thumbnail. And man, that place gets it tugs on the heartstrings. I miss being up there, even if it was just for that 1 week. But I can see like the bluff country behind you,
Yep.
and it's like, oh man, I want to go back so bad.
Yeah, you gotta come back, man.
Oh, I'm coming back. I just don't know exactly when that might be
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, it's time consuming and expensive for sure when you're not from around here. And like I said, I'm fortunate to have the land I do, through marriage or whatever. But my wife's been great about it, and my father-in-law has been pretty fun with it too. So he loves looking at the trail cams because they never really had them out before. So I
Right.
got a bunch of cell cams, so he has access to them, and so I think he enjoys it too.
Oh, absolutely. What about Wisconsin deer herd? Is it healthy? Are you guys having any problems with CWD or anything like that up there? Because I know, like when we talked before, you got like 5 million people that come in and hunt the state of Wisconsin during gun season. With that number of people hunting it, does that ever affect the population?
Not really. The northern half of the state still is below average from historical numbers. Um, it's really not a CWD thing at all, although it is present here. They try to control it pretty well in terms of no feeding, counties where they found it, no baiting, stuff like that. So it's here, but it's not. what's killing it off. It's what's killing it off up north is the wolves. Um, they are really, really hammering them pretty bad up there. Wolves being federally protected, there's nothing Wisconsin can do about it. They got temporarily taken off last year. There was the DNR put on, I don't want to call it an impromptu, but a very quickly put together wolf hunt, and the quota was met within like 2 days.
Oh wow! How many did they
Um,
get to shoot?
oh gosh, now I want to say it was like 100. So like 100 for like any regular population, and 50 was for the tribes. And the
Okay.
assumption is with the tribes that they probably wouldn't take their full quota or may any of them at all, because most of them view it as sacred or whatever, which is fine.
Right.
Um, but I think they ended up taking like 193 total because they got so many, and then they say it's closed, but by then it take good 24 hours before basically everyone knows. So they killed a bunch, but that just kind of gives you an idea how many there are here. That hunters were that successful with them in basically a 2-day period. They killed all those. So
Wow.
they're killing tons of livestock, dogs. TNR, like I said, their hands are kind of tied. They're federally protected again. So the problem is still going to persist. But luckily, the southern half of the state where I'm at, my biggest problem that I'm dealing with is coyotes. I try to take care of them, but the coyotes themselves, they're more only really a factor to the fawns than they are adult deer, unless they're pack hunting, which I don't see very often around here. But
Yeah.
we do have bobcats and bears, but the numbers are pretty small. Just up north, more large forest land, so there's a lot more predators too. Um, the bear population up there is significantly higher than it is in this part of the state. Um, it takes 8 years or more in some zones to get a bear tag, because that's where everyone wants to hunt, and there's a relatively small quota for that. And if I wanted a bear tag where I'm at it, I could get one probably in a year, two at the most. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the predator diversity too, in terms of where they're located at. So, overall the deer herd is, I would still say, is pretty good, but it all depends on who you talk to and where they hunt. Because most
Right.
people who hunt up north will tell you it sucks. I don't see anything like I used to. I see more wolf tracks than I see deer tracks and stuff like that. So um, it's got its problems, that's for sure, but not really a lot of ones that there's much that the state or the DNR can do about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because you said like on your father-in-law's place, you would have no problem seeing like 200 deer in a field or something, didn't you? Or
Oh
close
yeah, I
to it.
mean, in the 6 years of bow hunting there, I've only actually not seen a deer once, and that was because I got in my stand, and about 10 minutes after I got in my stand, it basically felt like I was sitting in a hurricane.
Oh
So I
shit.
only sat for 20 minutes. Other than that, I've always seen a deer. I mean, it's not like there's hundreds and hundreds of them, but there's a very healthy population where I'm at. And, there seem to be a lot of twins with the does there. I know I've got at least 3 sets. Um, on trail cam this year. There's probably more. Actually, I know there was a fourth, but I know something got one of them as I found it. But yeah, I mean, that's why I'm always hesitant to shoot does, because I'm like, geez, they're always having twins.
Yeah, no kidding. You never know what can come out of one of
Yeah,
those
exactly.
does.
But boy, they taste good. And my boys, I've given them venison a little bit already, and they love it. So I'm
That's
assuming
awesome.
and as they get bigger, I'm gonna need an extra deer or two just for them.
Yeah, no kidding. That's actually what I had for dinner tonight. I made what I call sloppy doughs, just a little sloppy Joe with some venison burger. It was really good, but Indiana, man, I don't know what it is that's like I've talked on here before, going out back when I first got into hunting and bow hunting and everything, and would see a ton of deer. They're hurting. They're hurting right now where I'm at, East Central Indiana. I mean, there was I could. I mean, there was probably a time last year, what people will call the October lull or whatever, if that's something that you believe in. But I think I went like a week and a half without seeing a single deer as I sat in the stand.
Really?
Yeah, and
Is
it's
there?
that's difficult, you know what I mean, to keep your momentum going when you're not seeing even a doe or a couple does. It's like, man, what do I do? You think you might be in the wrong spot, but really it's just a population thing, man. Our numbers are way down. They finally kind of adjusted some things as far as antlerless deer being able to be taken in the state of Indiana because it's all per county here. We
Yep.
used to be able to slaughter the deer, and I think it's starting to show. They finally bumped some of those numbers down, but it's getting pretty rough around here.
Yeah, and that's kind of that we did have that a little of that issue in Wisconsin up north where they kind of just you know you could buy as many doe tags as you wanted over the counter, and they would have special, I guess we call them T-zone hunts, which is antlerless only. And they took out a ton of does, and then now all of a sudden the wolf population starts going up too, and then now they just don't have a chance to recover. I know the winter of 2014 was historically one of the worst on record, and I know that had a huge effect on that year's fawn and then yearling crop of deer. They estimate like 75% of them died
Wow.
that year in the northern counties, just with how severe the winter was. Um, so you combine that with a little bit of mismanagement and the high predator load, and that's kind of part of where we're at right now. But the rest of the state can sustain it, and even the high they still offer antlerless hunts only, like in the county that I hunt in and some other high population ones. It also probably makes a difference that where I hunt is mostly private land. Up north is a lot more, the largest concentration of public land is. So, when you have a county that's 90+% private land, you can manage your deer population a little bit different because you don't have everybody hunting it, and people can, you know, if you have 200 plus acres and 6 people hunting it, I mean, odds are pretty good you're gonna have plenty of deer. So
Right.
that makes a difference too. But yeah, there's been mismanagement, and you see it everywhere, really. And I don't know why some of these states they don't see what's happening elsewhere and adjust because they know what's going to happen, and now they're going to suffer from it. So that sucks that you're kind of in that spot right now. And the sad part is it's going to take many years to recover from it. So,
Yeah, there was I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had such a big hit on the CWD along the river here, where mostly I hunt and everybody that hunts with me hunts for the most part. Um, they went down in kayaks one day, and I'm not even making this up. They found like 21 bucks along the river, not only dead, some still alive, but not gonna make it very long. They got videos on their phone of seeing these deer all messed up, and some of them were absolute giants, and it's just hard to see that. And I don't think after that whole thing hit, I just don't think it's really bounced back yet. But I'm hoping that it does because I love hunting the area. But it's crazy. Like when I went up to Michigan turkey hunting this year, I mean, it wouldn't be nothing to see 50 deer in a field or something like that. And I'm kind of going crazy. And they're like, what are you so excited about? I'm like, just the pure numbers of deer that I see here is wild compared back to home. I mean, yes, we
right.
have big deer here. I mean, we have some pretty good mature corn-fed bucks, but I'm not used to that kind of numbers. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, and before I hunted where I do now, I hunted public land with my dad, and you know that's kind of the same thing. Is we'd be lucky to see 2 deer a sit, and we only gun hunted for one, or sometimes you wouldn't see anything. So now I'm certainly very spoiled. I don't know how I could ever go back to not hunting where I do now.
Right.
That would just probably be a giant baby about it. But there's no deer here. This sucks. Why am I doing this? I've been so fortunate. The last 8+ years of being able to be on that land. Um, so yeah, and but CWD. I mean, like I said, it's been managed pretty well here. But boy, if it gets, that's pretty bad from what I understand. It can get nasty. So
Yeah.
I'll just cross my fingers that issue never comes up here. Too bad. So I don't know how you completely eradicate it, other than
I
what
don't
they
think
try to
you
do.
really can. You know what I mean?
The worst part is here is anytime you hear of a deer that's found that has CWD, it's from a game farm. And that's what usually irritates most people is it's like it's not even the private or not private land, but not even the free range deer that are getting it. So you're kind of, they could obviously still transmit it through, touching each other through the fence or whatever, but
Right.
most of these are from game farms, and we won't go down that rabbit hole on that kind of stuff, high fence hunts and crap. But that's where most of it's originated from. So, and I don't know how that makes it, why they're in there more. I'm sure there's a scientific explanation for it, but I don't know. Um, there's not just been not a ton of it found on free range deer here, although it has. So it's here, it's around, but hopefully it keeps at the way at the level it is right now, or even continues to decline.
Well, one of the one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on tonight is you've kind of dove into a little adventure with me. We both put in for our first Iowa preference point. Uh, like you said, I think our first year eligibility of draw is what 2028.
Yep,
So 2020,
2028.
yeah. Let's jump into that. Like I know you have already kind of like reserved your spot to be able to hunt a guy's place. I'm trying to get in on that with you because that sounds like something that's right up my alley, man.
Yeah, so um, I don't know if I should name drop or not, but Buffalo County Outfitters is who I'm going through. He started in Wisconsin, Buffalo County, obviously. Um, and he's got some Iowa properties. And I figured, if I know I'm going to get a tag in 2028, if I have to wait 6 years, I'm not a big guy who wants to go, hunt on a property that's everything set up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Public land would be fun, but I mean, 6 years is just such a long time to wait. Like I kind of want to make it worth it. So I signed up from him for 2028. So I got a long ways to wait, but I'm super excited for it. He's got 140-inch minimum to shoot. And I'll probably be looking for something a little bit bigger than that if I have to. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. It's the first time I've actually traveled out. Have traveled out of state to bow hunt. Although something can change between now and 2028. I mean, geez, it's
Right.
6 years away. I do have some hopes and plans too, but to get out and do some Kentucky maybe or Missouri or something. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what the
So
wife says. Let's put it that way.
my question to you is, you said you have never traveled outside the state of Wisconsin to deer hunt. Why Iowa?
Well, I've just since I followed that page so much, I see a lot of the deer he has, and I know the guy pretty well. So I was just kind of like, well, I'd rather go with an outfitter and a guy I kind of have a relationship with already or understanding with, so I know what I'm kind of getting into. Whitetails for me is such a huge thing. I know Iowa has some slammers. I know where you're at there in Indiana's got some big ones. Ohio's kind of up there too. But Iowa, I guess, is close enough to home. Let's put it that way.
Right.
That it feels a little bit like I'm probably hunting around here. With how fortunate I am with the land I get to hunt on, it kind of seems silly to ever even want to hunt anywhere else because I have pretty large bucks usually each year that I can try to get after. But it's just something different. I like to expand my horizons a little bit, and we'll see what else happens between now and then.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I've gotten to go to some of those states that you named off. I killed a deer in Ohio last year. I'm actually going to Kentucky this year. I'm not personally hunting. I'm going with a group of guys that have been going. This is their 11th year in a row. They've went to Kentucky, and I'm cameraman. I'm going just to have a good time, and they've killed some very, very great deer in Kentucky in velvet. So
Oh,
try to catch some of that on film and just kind of sit back and take it all in and check it out because it's not like something I've really ever done before when it comes to deer hunting. I mean, like we've talked before, I hate hunting in hot weather when it comes to deer. And,
right.
when this trip, Labor Day weekend, it's going to be probably 90 plus degrees.
Yeah, and that would be a huge change in dealing with bugs and all
Right.
that stuff. But like Kentucky Velvet stuff, I feel like that's kind of growing in popularity or something because I've got two friends of mine that are doing that this year as well. So
That's cool.
um, I think it would be fun to shoot a deer in velvet. Around here, and I'm sure most other states, it's pretty rare because the season typically doesn't open until most of them have already shed their velvet. So if you shoot an opening weekend or maybe the second weekend, it's probably your only chance at it, if even that. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, that sounds like fun, man. I can't wait to see the videos for that. So hopefully someone smacks a big one and
Now,
you get some good footage of it.
absolutely. For anybody wondering, I know a lot of people follow me on social and have heard me talk about it on podcasts already as far as my video of me killing the bird in Michigan. Uh, the guys from Michigan, they're going to put it on their YouTube here coming up, but I'm actually going to save it for before turkey season next year, kind of like a little excitement going into the spring. Kind of drop my kill from last year and hopefully get a lot more footage next year. But as far as YouTube, got a lot of stuff coming up. Got a lot of shows lined up. I'm recording 3 episodes just this week. They're not all 3 going to come out this week, but just got a lot of stuff lined up with Blue River Bow Hunting. Just got back from Send It Slam down in Louisville, Kentucky. The Go Wild app put a huge party on down there. Was gracious enough to give me some VIP tickets where we were sitting drinking beer, listening to some awesome Kentucky country music right on the Ohio River. It was a blast, and I can't wait to do something like that again. But to go hunt in Iowa, Kansas has both kind of been a dream of mine for a long time. I kind of would put Kansas above Iowa, but the way Iowa has trended in the last few years definitely puts it up there in talks, man. I just, it's cool for you. I'm excited for you because you get to hunt those bluff country way more than I do. I've only got to hunt it once, but then you're kind of coming down to my level. You're kind of coming down to the cornfield belt with flat land for the most part.
I tell you what, I'm kind of looking forward to it because hiking up them hills is never fun. And any
Right.
any time of year, I don't care whether it's cold or hot. Some of them steep bluffs, man, they really get you.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I will welcome the change in scenery in that respect. So, um, but yeah, no, I'm pumped for it. So
For
hopefully
sure.
you end up joining me. You'll
I'm
probably
gonna,
have to
yeah.
reserve your spot yet this year if you want. They fill up fast.
I
So,
know they fill up fast, so I'll do it as soon as funds are available for
oh
that. I'll
yeah,
definitely jump on that wagon with you because, like I said, I kind of went into it blind. I kind of wanted other people to join me with the people I hunt with, but I couldn't really talk anybody into it. They're going to be super jealous when the time comes for me to go. I know that's the way it works out, but for you saying, "Hey, let's do this," I'm like, "Dude, let's do it." So I'm
yeah.
off the point or whatever. I'm down to try the guy out and all that stuff. And even if we aren't successful, you never know. We might be able to jump back over there for a weekend or something.
Yep. Well, a nice thing too is because I got mine booked through October 23rd through 28th. So more pre-rut action for there. I the the rut week, I guess you would consider it. The following one was already booked full. But one of the nice things that he offers is basically, so after the rut week is over with, if you haven't like if you hunted with him before, you didn't get one, you can come back and keep hunting until basically season closes. I think shotgun or something, first one up in Iowa. So it doesn't cost you anything extra. So you can come back. If after I hunt my week down in Wisconsin, if I want to go back for another week and try to get one, I can. So that's kind of a nice little perk. But I do know 2 other guys are in it with me so far. One signed up to hunt the same place with me. The other one is not. He's kind of talking about just coming down and maybe public land hunting. So worst case scenario, if that's what's in the cards for you, I mean, do that too. We can all
Well,
still
what
meet
about
up and get
like
together.
the
So
what's the like the sleeping situation for that? Is that just the property and you have to find your own place to stay, or does he have a place that you can stay?
technically, it's not lodging on site, but he basically everyone stays at the same spot. If that makes any sense, it's a separate place. Um, Apparently, it's a pretty nice place, and but then you just kind of responsible for your own meals and stuff, but which is fine. Um, I don't really need all that stuff because I don't eat much during the hunting day. Anyways, I
Right.
sit in the stand all day and munch on snacks basically, and then I'll try to eat a decent meal at night. So,
Yeah.
but it's semi-guided if you want to call it that. Basically,
Yeah.
hey, here's your spots. Here's where the stands are. We'll bring you as close as we can with a side by side or whatever, and then you walk the rest. You can choose whatever stand you want. This is where they go, and they might throw a recommendation like, "Hey, I'd sit here. This buck's been here, whatever." So I like that too. That it's kind of mostly on your own. They kind of can help you if you have questions. Obviously, it's all free range too, which is a big thing for me. So, um, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, like I said, if you don't end up signing up for it through that, and or the week's full, and you still want to come down, like I said, there's another guy who's probably going to public land hunt it. So, we'll still meet up.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll try to stay close to you guys, maybe where you're staying, or figure something out. But I would honestly like to join the group that you got going to that place. If not,
Yep.
I'll jump on some public. That's not normally been my style. But this year, I'm flipping that on its head. I am doing a lot of public land hunting this coming fall. Not to throw any details out there quite yet because it's not really supposed to be announced yet, but Blue River Bow Hunting and a couple other podcasts slash social media YouTuber type thing are throwing a public land in air quotes challenge deer camp in southern Indiana. So I'm gonna get plenty of public land hunting in this year. So I'm freaking pumped. I can't wait. It's just a new adventure for me. It's kind of got me excited. Going about it a whole nother way than I'm used to. I'm used to hunting set stands. I'm rocking a saddle with climbing sticks and the whole 9 yards. I am super pumped. I've been working on my setup, working on practicing. It's been a whole thing to put together, but it's gonna be a blast.
Oh yeah, that should be fun. I'm looking forward to following you on that one because I do. I don't want to say I miss public land hunting because with what I have now, it's pretty hard to miss it. But the
Right.
challenge of it is definitely something that's to be mentioned. I mean, you don't you're kind of going in half blind, and you got to deal with other hunters potentially, and really test your skills for sure, skills and knowledge. So I think anybody who bags like a public land monster, like I got the utmost respect for that because that's what you're doing for sure. I mean, it takes luck. There's
It
no doubt
does for
about it. You
sure.
got to get a little lucky too. But I mean, it's just that's why I just think if you just nab a public land just slammer, like man, that's top of the game for me. I got lots of respect for you. So hopefully that's what you end up with.
I appreciate that, man. So, speaking of 2022, what's your plans going into this season? Is it kind of the same old? You switching anything up, or how's that working out?
Well, I had a lot of success in terms of activity with a water hole I put in last year. So I'm putting in three more this year. I haven't done them yet, although I have a weekend planned to get all that work done. Gonna go down to the farm for a whole weekend and kind of get everything ready for the season. Get some tree trimming done. Adjust stands a little bit. Adding one new one, moving one. Um, but other than really adding the three water holes, just because there's not a really good water source, a stream real nearby, hoping that helps hold them. Some of them bigger ones to stay, or kind of get them on a pattern to at least come check it out, even if it's just for a few seconds. So that's all you need. Um, but yeah, I'm not doing too much different this year. You always have ideas and plans, but you always hate to make too many changes because you don't want to try to drastically change stuff too much. But um, yeah, just getting ready, and cameras are out, and getting some stuff ready for the season whenever I have a free evening or afternoon, just to kind of get so I can make sure I can get everything actually done in a full weekend, believe it or not. So, um, but yeah, I'm getting excited. We're we're 2 months away here, so it's coming up.
What about, you talked about having cameras. Is your camera placement different in the summer and early fall compared to later on, or is it something that you kind of just put them in one spot that you kind of want to monitor and move on and just let it sit there?
For the most part, I do more field edge stuff in the summer just because it's they're gonna feed in the fields. But a lot of the cameras I have up are really more geared towards the fall, but I just don't feel like moving them. I don't want to go in there in September and move cameras around if I don't have to. I've got enough of them out there that I usually end up seeing everything at least at once, So um, if I really wanted to get hot and heavy with it, I could move them with the season. But um, you know, having relatively limited time to do it, I'd rather just kind of set them up for the fall, and then move a couple. Like the field edge ones are, I mean, you just kind of do that just for just more of a buck inventory. Let's put it that way.
Right.
But I got spots for those. So there's probably about 3 or 4 that I will move, especially once the crops are off. And where I'm at, it's all soybeans this year. So once the beans are off, I'll probably move them to more of the rut cruising spots. Um, Plus, it helps when a lot of those when the vegetation's down and you can actually see. So
Yeah, we must be on opposite corn or crop rotations because this is my corn year. Um, just about everything I'm hunting this year is surrounded in corn, minus one spot that's got mostly beans. But my honey hole surrounded in corn. Ryan's honey hole is definitely surrounded in corn. Can't wait to see what pops up in that neck of the woods. We did what you had done last year with the microplot. We did a lot better this year. He sprayed it off twice, I think, before we went in there with weed eaters, and the space is a lot bigger than last year. And we added a water hole, which I'm really intrigued on to see what happens. He actually has a camera on the water hole right now to see how that's going to play out. When we first put the seed down, we probably didn't get rain for 4 or 5 days, and here in the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so, we've gotten a lot of rain. So I'd imagine that plot's probably looking pretty good right now, and that water hole's definitely filled up.
yeah, I'm gonna add with my water holes probably a little bit of a micro plot as well. Just I'm gonna go actually weed eat and spray this weekend, and then the following weekend, one day I'll go down and I'll kind of rip it up and just it's all in spots that I can't get any equipment, so it's all hand.
Right. That's how this
Um,
is too, basically.
and by rights, I should probably after I rip it up, I should probably spray it again for anything I turn up. But um, I feel like just with an essence of time, I'll probably just throw down my seed with the water hole and see how it goes. It should take off pretty good. But yeah, man, I don't really normally where I hunt at. They do have a mix of corn and beans every year. I guess this year the farmer who my father-in-law leases it out to decided he wanted to do everything the same. Which soybeans to me is awesome early season, but once they're off, and there goes your main food source. So my concentration on my microplots are going to be food sources basically that are more tolerant to cold weather and stuff like that. Give them something to come back to. So um, I'm hoping that he leases it out to somebody else next year, like he's been talking about, and we'll go back to a little bit of more of an even mix.
Hmm.
But who knows? Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised that the deer will still stick around when the beans are off, because most of the neighbors are actually beans too, so they might be kind of forced to stay. But I do have a really good one of my favorite stands is actually close to the one neighbor who actually has a cornfield. So interested to see. I'm just going to pay a lot of attention this year to the movement on that and see how it really affects it. Because in my mind, I'm not too thrilled about it, but in the end of things, I might be pleasantly surprised. Like I said, like all right, well, all of the same crop isn't the worst thing. I can't imagine all corn is always good because boy, they're going to love to hide in that. So
Yeah, that's
I
what I was
hope
thinking
that would be
too.
off by the time I whole
That
season started. My rutcation, I should say, like, boy, that corn better be off because
Yeah,
I
no
know where
kidding.
they're
Or you
laying.
might as well just push it back until it gets cut. Yeah, I was thinking the
Yeah,
same thing
basically.
when we went in to put the plot in and help him with the pond and everything. It's even our corn's getting pretty high right here right now, and I was thinking that when we started driving back there and then walked the rest of the way, I'm like, dude, this thing is like, because it's an old overgrown pasture back in there, and it's just like this diamond shaped, and now it's just surrounded by corn, but you still have that pasture in there. I know what's going to happen. It's happened like the past 2 or 3 years we've hunted it. The bucks hang out all summer long in there. It's just like a little hideaway for them. They get a nice breeze
Yep.
through there. If they need to go in the woods, there's a woods right there. But man, it seems like as soon as September 1st hits, they're gone, and they may come back. Some of them stay a little longer, but it's like, man, you guys are killing me. I'd rather just not see anything all summer and then have them all there all
Right.
fall.
Yeah, I know. I do listen to a lot of Jeff Sturgis with Whitetail Habitat Solutions, and he kind of talks about that a lot. How seeing a lot of summer bucks is never not necessarily a good thing because
Right.
their needs in the summer are different than in the fall. I've noticed that I've been pretty lucky where I'm at. Most of them stay, but definitely not all of them. I do see more decent bucks in the summer and in the fall, especially more towards the rut. Some of them just disappeared. A couple other ones obviously show up in their spot, but yeah. So the whole habitat stuff with trying to create a fall property is tough. But man, and with your setup there, and I think I've seen enough of from videos and stuff of you. I kind of picture in my head your setup.
Right.
You might be better off if the corn's still on, because then they might come out and go to your little plot there with the water hole. They just lay in the corn and then come out. So I'd almost hope that it's on. Maybe not during the rut because they're gonna be running around anyways. But I think it for you, corn's probably a pretty good setup. So
Well, that's what I was going to say when we had that conversation. When I said that to him, he said the last time we were surrounded in corn here is when we held the mature deer longer and they stuck around. I can remember. This kills me to say this, tell the story, but we had a friend that had a birthday party for one Friday night, Top Golf, the whole 9 yards, riding the party bus to the deal and all that, and it was I can't remember, like October 22nd, I think, or 23rd, something like that. I hadn't had much luck, and Ryan's like, "We going hunting after work?" I'm like, "Man, I would, but I got my Travis's birthday party deal. I'm probably gonna go to that, take a night off, spend it with the wife, make her happy, sort of thing. You know what I mean?" And
yeah,
lo and behold, he had an encounter with an absolute giant. Corn still standing, but he said that the deer went into the corn after him having that encounter, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't freaking wait for fall. We need to get there like right now.
yep. Yeah, it's coming. It's funny how I had my main target buck last year, and if you remind me, I'll send you a picture of him. But I had seen him a lot all summer. I had him pretty patterned out in October, but I was really trying to wait until basically the conditions were absolutely perfect to go after him because I figure if I spook him once, I won't see him.
Right.
Um, and I did see him one night in the middle of October, just couldn't get him quite close enough. I backed out, had a wedding and stuff to go to the next weekend, and then Halloween. I didn't hunt that evening because it was my boy's first Halloween, and they're only six, well, what, 5 months old, but I mean, still, our friends they
Right.
want to go with, and he showed up on camera that night, not at a stand I had I just had it over a scrape, but I never saw him again. So
Damn.
I don't know where he went. I don't think anybody killed him because with the neighbors, I probably would have heard about it. Um, so he went somewhere else. Maybe he got killed. I'm not sure. But that's one of those things is, man, they even come up to rut and then all of a sudden they disappear. So
Was that
um,
Fat Albert? Was that his name?
yeah, that was
Fat
him.
Albert. I remember
Yep,
that.
Pat Albert. I think, yeah, you probably have pictures of him already, but yeah, he just disappeared, and I don't know. I still don't know where he went, and a couple of the ones that I seen this year, they don't really resemble him. But if I remember correctly, last year he didn't show up till a little bit later in the summer. So if he's going to come back, I might see him. But um, the other big one I was after, he appears to be back, and he's bigger and better than last year. So far, he's on number one on the target list. I asked my wife for some suggestions for name. I try to do a theme each year for naming bucks. She came up with villains. So we the one big one I'm after. He's named the Joker.
Nice.
I had a new one show up today. And he's pretty nice too. I haven't seen him yet. This is the first time I've seen him. And so we're still working on a name for him yet, but I think naming deer is kind of fun. This
Oh,
gives you something
absolutely.
to look forward to. Some people think it's dumb or get mad about it, and I feel like when you talk, I mean, like you said, you know what deer I was talking about, Fat Albert, right? You
Yeah.
talk to your friends about, and my buddies named their deer, and they're like, yeah, I saw, Fat Albert or so and so tonight. It's like, oh, I know exactly what buck you're talking about. Like, oh yeah, I saw a big eight. Well, which
Right.
one? You probably have more than one, right? So I think it's just kind of
Oh,
fun to do with
absolutely.
friends, and like I said, it's some of the old timers I think hate it, but yeah, that's okay.
What about any new gear? You got any new gear rolling into the season? New bow or any kind of new clothing or anything rolling into the?
No, nothing really new so far. I did get a couple actually different types of broadheads that I'm gonna test out. Um, I had the Iron Wills. I like them, but the the blood trail is pretty small from the people I know that have them. Um, which hopefully if you make a good shot, it shouldn't matter, right? But
Right.
we all know how that goes. Sometimes you don't get the perfect opportunity, or you just get excited or something. And I went to a hybrid blade this year, so a hybrid mechanical fixed, because the mechanicals always made me nervous that they wouldn't deploy. And these ones actually have something in, like there's a screw that they include with it so that you can actually practice with them. So other thing I always hated was trying to practice with a field tip and then trying to practice with one of your broadheads and then worried about ruining one basically. So
Right.
um, other than that, I'm not doing anything really new this year for equipment wise. Still got V3 as the bow I got, so that's pretty new still. So I don't think I need to upgrade that for a while, but you know how that goes.
Right.
Uh, Maybe in a few years, but we'll see. That shoots great, and I feel pretty set for that. So, what about you? You got anything new this year?
Just the saddle setup, really, and that's like I said, it's a whole nother ball game for me because I'm used to hunting set stands. So I have, I mean, multiple stand locations pretty much everywhere that we hunt, and all those are hang-on stands with climbing sticks. So I've had a ton of climbing sticks in the past, but this was different. Putting these sticks together, I wanted the lightest, the most bang for my buck that was going to help me out in getting in the tree quietly, having aiders and stuff like that. But
Yep.
that's about it, man. I'm super excited about it. I'm going to try to film as much of that as I can. Even I'm going to start filming some stuff in the yard, just kind of messing around because I need to be able to practice getting up in the tree and getting everything out and about as I go up and as I go down, and setting a camera up when I'm up in the tree, which is a new thing that I'm kind of rocking too. I've used the same camera arm and base for 2 years, and it's so heavy. The base of it is ungodly heavy for a camera base, but I wanted something, solid to hold my expensive camera. You know what I mean? Who wouldn't
Right.
want that? But this
Oh
year's a
yeah.
lot a lot different. I'm going with what's called a pocket arm from Lone Wolf. It's literally a camera arm that I can put in my pocket damn near. It weighs like
Really?
1.6 pounds. It's a lot different. It still levels out, and it holds a camera up to like 10 pounds or something like that. But my camera is not even close to that, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to be more mobile, and I'm excited for that. Like I said, hunting fixed stands my entire time that I've been hunting and bow hunting. And to switch it up like that, I've had a climber, in the past, and I wasn't a huge fan, and I just think that I'm really going to like this. I'm already liking it, just messing around with it, and then I just got to work them kinks out where I can get fast at doing stuff. But I'm pretty
Yeah.
excited about it all. But going back on the broadhead talk, I shoot a hybrid myself. Actually, the year that I went to Wisconsin up there, that was the first deer I'd ever shot with one, and if those things do any damage like the ones I got, buddy, you're in for a treat because a blind person could find that deer.
Hey, that's the hope, right? I mean, no one wants anything more than to actually watch the deer drop. But you know how that goes. That doesn't always happen, and but especially depending on where you're sitting at. But
Yeah.
yeah, a nice healthy blood trail, especially if you shoot it later in the evening. Which is the prime time for them to come out and trying to look for it in the dark. And I've never been really great at spotting blood anyway, so if I can get the more blood trail, the better for me. So,
Yeah.
but I
Um,
should actually add, I did get a new piece of technology, if you want to call it this year. I got an e-bike, a
that's
hunting
awesome.
e-bike, and I actually took it out for the first time on Sunday, and that thing is awesome.
I
Um,
bet.
I, I have to figure out a little bit more how to work it so it helps me out a little bit more on some of them steep hills.
Hmm.
But I mean, just riding out everywhere, how quiet it was versus taking the side by side, and how fast it is. The one I got, it can go up to 35 miles an hour, I believe.
Damn, you'd be
I
scooting across
wouldn't
the
be doing
field.
that out there, especially going over rough terrain. Like if I was on a road or something, maybe I'd try it. But um, I've been looking at them for a while. Um, I found one. They're just so expensive, and I found one that, or my buddy put me on one that basically was all the specs on it were that to like a Quiet Cat, which is one of the top brands, but they're like $4,500, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
they're pretty
God,
salty.
that's so much money. I'm like, for a bike. Um, but he put me on this one. It's actually made in Baldwin, Wisconsin, and it was half the price of the Quiet Cat, and it's mostly because they do direct sales only. They don't have vendors or whatever. So, and it was pretty cool because Baldwin's only about 40 minutes from me. They assembled it and brought it right to my house and showed me how to use it. So,
That's awesome.
I think that's going to be kind of a game changer in a way, just trying to get out to them far away stands so I don't have to walk the whole way anymore.
Hmm.
I won't ride it directly to the stand because I mean it's still going to be louder than trying to walk myself. But um, I'm excited for that because I mean you know how it is with bow hunting. That scent control is so important, and then you try not to get hot and sweaty. Even on the coldest mornings, but it's just so hard not to when you're walking so far.
Right.
So I'm thinking this is going to help me in that respect. So plus it's going to be great for anytime I'm out doing summertime or prep work, just getting to it and bringing stuff with me because it's got baskets on the front and the back, so I can carry all kinds of crap with me. So I had my weed whacker tied to it with me when I went with. So it's been pretty awesome. So that's probably, I guess, the big thing that I've had, and I kind of forgot about it because I just got it, so I've only used it once, but um, it's been cool.
What about time in the woods? Is your time? I know last year was pretty tough for you. Having your boys and everything that went on with them. You going to be able to spend more time in the woods this fall?
I am hoping so. I kind of started to try to adapt the strategy of only going on the best weather days versus just going when you can. Um, I grew up being taught that you can't kill deer from a couch, which is true to an extent. Um, but through experience and through, learning through other people, is that's actually your better chance, at least for a successful on a mature buck, is to not be out there all the time. Just go when a front's coming or you got a big change in temperature or something like that. All the moon phase, whatever. That's that time. Go then. And I feel like adapting that philosophy is good because then I will be home more for my boys and stuff and hang out with them and try not to be gone too much. But it kind of
Right.
works out well with in the spring. My wife's a softball coach, so she's gone a lot, so she can't really complain too much when I'm bow hunting.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, it's I want to get out a lot, but like I said, I'm gonna shy away from hey, I got a free night, I'm gonna go. If there's really no really indicators that I should be out there, let's put it that way. So um, I'm more or less looking forward to my 2 week vacation. Um, even then, I probably shouldn't sit every day, but I took off, and that's just fun sitting out there at that point. So
No, I
you
don't
never
blame
know
you.
what's going to happen during the rut. They're not quite as crazy smart as they are the rest of the time. So
Yeah, my wife and kiddo, they're pretty used to it by now. It'll be funny. Like, obviously, getting home after dark, and I'm gone way before they even think about getting up in the morning. Even if I'm just going to work or whatever, go to work and then go hunting. Walking in the door, she might be cooking supper or something, and look over him, and he's like, "Did you get anything?" I wish, buddy. I wish.
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Oh yeah, I know. It's funny because my wife, she gives me a hard time because I don't shoot anything or whatever. Like, well, bow hunting for me is that's when I'm after the bucks. My target buck and rifle season's usually when I'm more about filling the freezer, right?
right.
The last 2 years I kind of killed some of my target bucks with the rifle, which I'm grateful for, but I'm not. That's not what I'm after for particularly. So, um, but yeah, she understands it though. That my passion for it. I mean, the season never really ends.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
it's
It's a year round
you
thing.
got. I feel like the doldrums of winter, like January and February, but the only real off time other than scheming in your mind what you're gonna do. But then really once March comes and you can get in the woods, it's game on, man. It's going any
Shed
chance you
hunting.
get. You gotta get. You're doing something.
Absolutely.
So it's she's gotten used to it by now. So
I bet. What's something that you learned last year that maybe just clicked, or just something maybe you learned last year overall?
um, probably the biggest thing for me is I've heard of it before, and maybe I got a little bit too cocky with it. Is that there's no amount of scent control that will completely fool a deer,
Mm-hmm.
especially a mature buck who their three main senses. I mean, he gets one of them and he's gone. The yearlings or the fawns or even some does, they take two or all three senses before they're gone. So it's just you do it. I do absolutely as much as I can, but you just kind of basically figured out that you really have to play the wind exactly like you're supposed to, and not take too much of an unnecessary risk just because you think you've got the scent game cleared up. But so yeah, that's probably the biggest one right there is the scent because I even got busted by a doe once last year, and that's the first time I got busted by a doe in probably 2 or 3 years. And that just totally kills your confidence too. Let me tell
Oh,
you.
for
So
sure. And we've had the conversation before. I'm like you. I take as much precaution into my scent game as humanly possible. But actually, I'm kind of in like the opposite boat as you. From the people that I'm around and some of the people that I've talked to, um, they don't put as much thought into it. How as we were just so focused on it, and maybe it clouded our mind on other categories of what we were doing. But my biggest thing, kind of for last year, was like, if they're not there, why do I keep going there? Kind of thing. Like I said, if I went a week and a half and I didn't see a deer, hey, dumbass, it's time to move on. Let's go someplace else. But, when I
Yeah,
get a certain thing stuck in my mind or I'm chasing a certain deer or whatever, just tunnel vision, you can really screw yourself. And I think it did last year. Like I said, our population's down a little bit. My honey hole, when I say honey hole, it's a perennial place that has some very good deer. I only hunted it like 3 times maybe, which is freaking outrageous for me because I usually spend a lot of time there. But being behind the camera like I am, I like to go with with my guys now, go other places, which is fun too. But I think there's going to be some times this year where, yes, I'm still going to film, but I'm going to maybe force the issue at a certain time. I'm not October 1st. I'm not going to go into the deepest spot and push everything out of the woods. But when the time
right.
feels right, I'm going to push the issue. I'm going to get in
Yep.
to some places I haven't really been before. And I got a couple places that I've kind of used as just bedding area. I know it's a bedding area. Why go in there? You're jumping every deer out of the whole property. But there's going to be some times where I may push the issue a little bit. Maybe go in at like noon, kind of sneak my way in there and try to be as
Yep.
quiet as possible. But maybe just push my luck a little bit this year. I want to kill a giant, man.
I'm game for that, and I might even end up doing that too. Just like I said, just kind of the last couple years with I don't even really want to call it bad luck with bow hunting, but kind of not really what I was hoping for. I might have been overthinking things a little bit too much. I know that's something that I do a lot in my day to day life is overthink crap, or just overanalyze. Let's put it that way.
Same.
So maybe I just need to just kind of just relax a little bit, be smart about it, but don't get too worked up about it. Um, I know I'm pretty good about it, but it took me a couple years to figure it out is to not rely too much on your trail cams because
Right.
they really only show just such a small picture of of the area you hunt, even when your tree stand. I mean, even for bow hunting, I mean, it's captures so little overall. So over reliance on them is something I've gotten pretty good at avoiding, but it's tough. It's tough to
It is tough.
like, when you're in the rut and you're like, well, I don't know if I shouldn't sit there. I haven't seen a deer on that camera in 3 days, or I haven't seen anything I would shoot in 3 days. So, well, I've seen two on this camera. And then you go and sit in the one that you've seen in 2 days, and then the one you haven't sat in, there's a buck goes by. So,
Right.
it's over reliance on that is, I think a lot of people are guilty of that. And I'm certainly not prone. I still do it periodically, although I'm better at it than I used to be. But you get that buck fever, man. It's pretty hard to get away from it.
Definitely. Well, buddy, I appreciate it. It's always fun having you on. Like I said, maybe we can work you into like a co-host role for the rest of the year or whenever you get free time. And maybe if you have some buddies that want to hop on and bullshit and talk a little bit of deer hunt, maybe we can get some of your buddies on.
Oh yeah, I got a couple guys that probably would be interested. So yeah, I'm down for sure. I know we really talked about it last year. Boys are a little older, doing a little bit better, so I think I can easily swing a hour here, once a week or once every other week, and just kind of talk about whatever and
Yeah.
talk about how the season prep's going and see what other people are up to and whatever. So yeah, I'm definitely down. I might have to get a nice little setup like you got though.
It's actually not as expensive as you would think. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole just like any other thing, and it can be really
Yeah,
expensive. But for what I got, not really that expensive.
it sounds great. So I mean,
Well, I
sounds good to
appreciate that.
me. So I know the sound quality is kind of a big thing, but it sounds good. I don't know what I sound like, but I'm pretty
It
sure I
doesn't
don't
sound bad
sound
at
as
all
good as you.
on
So,
my end. It doesn't sound
but
bad at all.
good.
But
So
tell everybody where they can find you on social media if maybe they want to follow along with what you got going on up there in Wisconsin this year.
sure. My Twitter handle, boy, let me think. That's when I'm most active on. I think it's at JLane_22.
I
Boy,
think that's what
you
it
might
is.
have to look that up when you double check. I'm not 100% certain, but that's where I'm usually mostly at. I don't really do. I mean, I have a Facebook and stuff, but that's mostly just for family and stuff. But
Right.
um, If most of anything I find hunting wise or whatever I post on there because most good chunk of my followers are hunting people and
Right.
I don't know, actually I should quick mention, I don't know if you saw it, but on Sunday I came face to face with a bear at 15 yards.
Oh shit! I
Um,
didn't see that. Now I'm very interested when I go look at that.
yeah, so it was about a little after 8 o'clock at night. I just got done changing batteries on a couple of the cameras. I'm walking up a steep hill, and I could hear something up the hill
Mm-hmm.
um, going across the trail. And I'm like, well, must be probably a deer. I've been seeing some bears on camera out there, but I hadn't seen them for a while, so I didn't get too nervous about it. And I take a couple more steps, and I can see. I just get over the ridge, and I see black,
Oh
and then I
god.
see the two ears, and it doesn't notice me at first. So I just kind of froze and grabbed my knife because, of course, I left my pistol in the side by side back at the farm. So I'm getting a little nervous here. I'm like, okay, we'll just keep walking, right? Or just hope the bear just keeps walking. And once I don't see it anymore, then I'm going to scoot, right?
Right.
Well, this stupid thing turns and starts walking down the trail towards me. So I literally, I said out loud, "Oh shit!" And I'm just waving my arms like this, and I'm like screaming at it, and it sees me, and it takes off. And I'm like, I figured that what happened. They're normally more scared of you, but you never know, right?
Oh,
Like if it was
absolutely.
felt threatened. So, yeah, I was pretty scared there. That was the closest I've ever been to a bear,
Whew.
and I don't want to repeat it without a pistol. I
Right.
slept on the couch that night. My wife was very upset with me because I didn't have my pistol because she knows the bears are out there too. I show them to her, but she was pretty upset. But yeah, that was crazy. It was luckily it was the smaller of the two that I've been seeing. I think they were a breeding pair. Um, I think that's the smaller sow. There's a pretty huge boar out there, and I didn't know if he was around, so I got out of there as fast as I could. But yeah, that I don't want to have that again.
No,
So
I bet no. I wouldn't want to mess with that either.
not at
I,
15 yards. No,
no,
no.
absolutely. Well,
So
it's been a good one, buddy. For
yep.
anybody, go follow him on Twitter. Check out the bear video. Apparently, I got to go check that out too. But
I just
uh,
got pictures of it, but they're timestamps of the bear, and then the one right after, about 45 seconds later, me coming back up the trail. But
oh, gotcha. I still want to check it
I
out.
did post a funnier picture a couple of weeks ago of I caught the two bears doing their business.
That's
Um,
awesome. Where
yeah,
have I
so
been on Twitter? I guess I've missed all
I
this.
bear. I guess, and I think I captioned something along. I guess I know that bears don't just shit in the woods. so,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, they can go away though. I don't want them around.
No, I bet not.
So
But thanks for everybody for listening to us talk some deer hunting there for a little bit. But if you want to hit that subscribe button, you can do a rate and review, anything like that. Check us out: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Go Wild, just about anywhere you can find some content. I'm throwing it out there on the old Blue River bow hunting. But you guys have a good rest of the week, and we'll be back again next week with episode 38. Thanks, guys.